introduce our guest speaker, Jake Osowski. First off, he is probably one of the funnest guys that I have met in this company. I always love getting to see his face on an incentive trip. But Jake started with Family Heritage 4.5 years ago. He started 1 month before COVID shut the world down. And so listen to this. His first year in the business, though, he still finished the #3 agent in the entire company. He jumped straight from field director to regional director. So he skipped right over the hardest step, which is market director. Pretty impressive. He's done over $1 million in personal sales. And his best week, guys, listen to this, is 59,000 in NAP in 1 week. His Abundance Financial Group is his business, and they are just over $5 million in lifetime premium. Fun facts. He has officiated 6 weddings, and he has the best head of hair in Family Heritage for sure. And he has the ability to rock a killer handlebar mustache. And I wish I could share my screen right now to show you the picture. Pretty incredible how much he looks like Ben Stiller. I don't know if you guys can see this look alike here, but pretty impressive right there. Also, he is incredible at pickleball, although he has had a pretty decent injury on a Family Heritage trip that maybe he'll tell you about if we have time. But yeah, so little fun information about him as well. It took a little bit to get him on this call because his time zone, he lives in Arizona, in Scottsdale, Arizona with his fiance. And they actually just put an offer on a house 2 weeks ago, which is pretty fun. So he waited, though, to get on our call till he was in Kentucky so the time difference wouldn't be so drastic. And he actually spent the first 2 years of his business in Kentucky building. So that's kind of fun, but he is from Minnesota originally. And so thank you so much, Jay, for being on our call. Yeah. And what time is it where you are right now? 2 hours
It's
behind
8
us or
o'clock.
one?
No, Kentucky's 8 o'clock. It's Eastern.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
just I like you guys, but I didn't feel like running a 5 a.m. conference call when I'm back out in Arizona.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thank you again for giving us your time and jumping on the call. Really just going to kind of start with a little bit about your story, Jake. Like, where you came from before Family Heritage. What were you doing?
Yeah, so I've done direct sales my entire adult life. For you guys who know some of the folks who came from the book world, I started doing that when I was 19 and ended up doing residential door sales for 10 years before coming here. Which is wild. I took it as a 3-month summer internship and turned into a 10-year long career. So I knew whatever I was doing for my next move was probably going to be long-term too. And took like 6 months of interviewing around to even just decide where to land next. And fun fact, I was actually a Family Heritage policyholder for 3 years before I started working here.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I knew nothing about door-to-door book sales whatsoever before coming to Family Heritage, but what I do know is that you guys are very sought after. When somebody that's in sales finds out that you worked for Southwestern, they're after you. They want you to be a part of their organization. So obviously you probably had a ton of offers and opportunities in front of you to go into all kinds of direct sales. What made you choose Family Heritage, though?
A couple things. I would only go somewhere where I actually had control over my income. I was never willing to step into a role again where somebody told me what my time was worth, or feeling like it was limited. I needed something with earned flexibility. Being that I'd moved to Arizona and my whole family still lived in Minnesota, I didn't feel like 2 weeks of vacation to go spend time with them when I wanted was enough. Yeah, it really just the people. Like I had a couple other opportunities that checked those boxes too, but when I chatted with Justin Ellington, there was just something completely different about one, being able to sell something with a completely clear conscience, but two, working with folks who are going to bend over backwards to help you be successful. Like my success doesn't deter anybody else from being successful here, which is weirdly unique in the sales world.
Yeah, you're definitely not stepping on or over somebody to hit your goals, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it probably very much so helped that you believed in the product enough that you had it yourself. You were knew that you could be convicted on what you were selling. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any just outside of the earned flexibility and basically wanting to be in complete control of your your income and the culture you found with Justin. Were there any other just complete non-negotiables to where it was just like, nope, that's not an option if those aren't there?
Yeah, I had three. It was I needed to control my income. I needed earned flexibility, and kind of a weird one to me is I needed to be able to relocate. If I without starting from scratch. I had literally just moved to Arizona. Fun fact, I was actually chasing a girl that did not pan out. So I didn't know if I was going to stay in Arizona. Um, yeah, which obviously I left and then came back because I met Emily 3 days before I moved out of Arizona and did the first 2 years long distance. That was super rude of her. That was supposed to be a fun date, and now we're getting married. Um, yeah, but yeah, it was that. And then I needed to sell something I believed in. Like, this product is such an easy thing to talk about. And like the way I ended up being a policyholder is I watched my dad go through a heart attack when I was in middle school. And he was out of work so long that he completely drained his 401k at that time to pay off the bills and make sure our family was taken care of, which was really tough to see. So when I had a friend do a demo on me when I was 25 years old, I'm like, if I don't use this, I get all my money back. Why the heck wouldn't I sign up? So I bought a heart plan and an accident plan at 25, filed 3 heart claims in my 20s to go get screenings, and just filed my first accident claim last year when I got too competitive playing spike ball on the company trip.
That's right. It was spike ball, not pickleball. My bad.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
yep.
Impressive to tear a meniscus and break a toe playing yard games.
I do remember you kind of in the wheelchair with your legs stuck out straight. I would
The
imagine you
blessing
probably
was
a ton of accident policies after that.
I had enrollments with assisted living facilities that let me borrow wheelchairs, and I was literally racing residents, and I sold so many accident policies. Walking billboard, well, rolling billboard.
Right. And that is a prime example of we take our job serious, but we do not take ourselves serious right there. Prime example. So okay, so obviously anybody that knows the book background knows how disciplined you have to be and just absolutely laser focused for that summer. And it's a grind. But I would imagine just like anything else, you're still transferring from one career to another, and there's going to be some differences. So, early on, how much did you carry over from Southwestern into this business that helped you be successful, or maybe what were some things that you learned here that hadn't been previewed to prior to that at Southwestern that's helped you be successful here?
I mean, there was a good bit of overlap, but I mean, it was more of the how I worked and not what we were doing. Like, I had no insurance background. I mean, other than I had this policy. Shoot, I didn't even know what a deductible was. So I was like 26 and forced off my parents' health insurance, and I started here when I was 28. Um, and I think even though like anybody who comes from books, like, that's cool, that's good experience. Like, knocking on doors is huge, but it's also just a sprint where you can go do that for 3 months at a time. So I had to take a completely different approach to having a long-term career here, and how can I work a sustainable schedule? So my routine had to be crucial when I started here. We didn't have a structured training manual for new agents when we were new. So I read 3 Eagles and 3 claims every single morning before I hit the field. I just wanted to up my conviction on the people I was trying to help. And also, it was super helpful to hear stories from other new agents who were seeing it click, because I always had these thoughts of like, if so-and-so can do it, so can I. But it's also really empowering to read ones like reading David Villaseñor's, where he's had like 300 some Eagles at this point. It's like, wow, that's really what this thing can look like. But as far as actually what it looked like starting here, Dylan, Buck, and I both started around the same time, and we talked about it a lot early on, that we had to set aside everything that we knew from books and like that sales process to really learn this one and just follow this to a T, which was really hard. Like, Justin wouldn't even let me go knock on a residential door for my first 3 months because it would have been too easy to fall back on old habits. Um, and now I don't want to knock on residential doors at all. But yeah, that like just really buying into this system, and I think what helped too is like I just was willing to make a lot of mistakes early on. Like, I tell people all the time, my quick start to this career was I just made as many mistakes as possible, as quick as possible. And anything that made me uncomfortable, I just went and did it as soon as I acknowledged that it made me uncomfortable. Because the longer that I pushed it off, the more uncomfortable it's going to be. I mean, shoot, fear given time only grows. So why don't I just go and squash that fear right off the bat? And there was plenty of stuff that scared me. Man, yeah, lots of businesses that just intimidated me, or people for some reason or another, and I just went and fell flat on my face.
Wow. I just got a ton of great nuggets from that. 3 eagles every morning, 3 claims, just before going out into the field, just building up that conviction and what we do. But loving that you dropped everything that you knew before and was just a sponge, and completely able to mold into following our systems here. But basically, it kind of reminds me of the last thing you just said of what Kyle tells us all the time. No matter what it is in life, if it's something that you don't want to do, that should probably be the very next thing that you do. Even if it's something as simple as washing your dishes. If you don't want to wash your dishes, probably the very next thing you should do. But especially in this
Mhm.
career, if you don't want to call on that business, you don't want to get out of the car, that's the very next thing that you should do. So thanks for sharing those nuggets right there. Tell me though, because I know that you're big on your morning routine and things like that. What does your morning routine look like?
Yeah, depends on what time zone I'm in, because conference calls definitely interrupt the morning routine. When I'm in Arizona, my alarm goes off and I'm on a conference call within 30 minutes, because it's 6 a.m. my time. But it's always being on the conference call and actually being present for that. I've made the mistake before where I've been in the car listening to it, and like I still do from time to time if I have to. But I always want to be somewhere I can actually take notes and be unbelievably present on the conference calls, because there's always some nugget I can take away. Um, Morning workouts are huge for me. I mean, I would love to be able to do them at night, but I know my discipline dwindles as the night goes on, and I just want to check out after work. So morning workouts, just knowing myself, are huge. I do a daily devotional every single day that I actually forward out to. I need to keep being more consistent, but about 500 people I send that to every day. Um, and write a gratitude journal. I've had a gratitude journal where I haven't missed a day in probably 6 years at this point, maybe more than that, but I know at least the last six. Um, yeah, that's a lot of my routine. And then even before, like I have a set routine before I walk into my first business every day. That's exactly the same. That if I don't do it because I'm rushing and someone's shadowing me, I immediately stop us before the next business to do it. Where I listen to the same meditation every day, which I never meditated before this career. Justin told me download Headspace and pay for the year-long version. He's like, you pay $80, you go protect one extra family, and it pays for itself. So I have a 5-minute meditation there. I say the same prayer, and then I'm in my first business by no later than 8:30 every single morning.
All right. Wow.
And still in the field almost every day right now, because I'm constantly training new folks in 3 different states. So I'm like this morning, got up at 4 to drive 3 hours to get with Chad Conley and Mike Day at an enrollment that is right down the road from here as soon as we hop off.
Wow. Man, love that. I love that you have not just a morning routine that you do like in your home, but you actually have one before you call on your very first business and that you stop dead in your tracks and do that. We talk about it all the time. Our habits and our routine, they're everything. We are our habits. So I love that.
Mhm.
Just a little side note, guys. Jake is the one who told me about I was doing I think it was like the first or second time I was doing 75 hard and going into a train more week, and he and I had been talking a lot through Voxer, and I'm like, man, I don't know after a couple days in on a travel train more how in the world I'm going to manage to get up and get that workout in and get up at 4:45. He was like, easy, just put your pre-workout next to your like on the nightstand, so when your alarm goes off, chug your pre-workout, because then you're not going to be able to go back to sleep. And swear that is still what I do every morning, because I get up at 4:45. It is just like part of my routine. It's like, yep, you're not going back to sleep after you take some pre-workout. So those of you who need that little extra boost in the morning, I encourage you to take Jake's advice on that. So thanks for sharing that. So yeah, good morning workout routine every morning, daily devotional, gratitude journal. That's huge. And then of course, meditation 5 minutes before the field, same prayer. Would you mind sharing that prayer with us?
Yep. Um, this is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or I can use it for good. What I do today is important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something I've traded for it. I want it to be good, not lost, good, gain. Yeah, good, not evil, gain, not loss, success, and not failure, in order that I should not regret the price that I paid for it. May God grant me sufficient wisdom and courage that this should be my record for today.
Man, that's powerful. Can you like write all that out or record it and send it to me? That's great. There was some nuggets in there, like especially, tomorrow, this day is gone forever. There are no redos. So make the most of it. Man, that's some powerful stuff. So Jake, I got one last question for you because I definitely want to be able to open it up for anybody else that has questions. But really like what are what are you the most excited about right now in your business and where you're going?
I'm pumped about the people that I'm helping step up in leadership right now. What's really fun about this career is you never know in the leadership side of things when you're going to find that next person who just completely changes the face of the business. Whether it's they can just go have a lot of impact on clients or they can go and have an impact on the agents. But like Abundance Financial, I guess, just to give some context, we've been in a slow growth this year. Like our goal was 60% growth. We're at like 40%. So not bad, just not where we wanted to be. And all year we've just been working on finding the right people and trying to scare off some folks who might not be a good fit. And to find 40 new agents this year was the goal. We had 20 coming into Q4. What are we at now? First week of the second month. We've had 12 new agents hit the field already this quarter, just in the first month. So we are hoping to double our entire growth of new agents in one quarter that we have in the last three. And it's just fun, like seeing other people see success and seeing new agents like Ross Roberts. He just had his first week last week, has never done sales before and equaled his first week. Like that was super cool to see. Seeing Jared Brunden, who Jared was, he worked for AT&T for 10 years. As a district manager, hasn't had a vacation or a weekend off in over a decade. And his first week here, he made enough money to cover his monthly bills. He wrote up 20,000 his first week, which was super cool. And he's human. He also zipped out a couple of weeks because he totally got in his own head. And I got to spend some time with him yesterday, but he took his first weekend off when he got here. The Mexico trip for Q3 is going to be the first vacation him and his wife have taken in 10 years. Like that's what I'm fired up about, is getting to help people do those kind of things.
Dude, that just gave me cold chills, legitimately cold chills. He's human, but the fact that he hasn't had a vacation in 10 years and he's getting ready to be spoiled in Mexico. Talk about doing it right. That is very, very exciting. And I know that obviously you're exactly right. You never know when you're going to get that next key player that changes the whole trajectory of your business, for sure. So thank you so much for sharing all those nuggets. I got an entire page full of notes, but I do want to take the opportunity to open it up. We got a few minutes here at the end for anybody that has any questions for Jake.
Hey, Jake, I've got a question.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term gratitude journal before. Can you explain that just a little bit more?
For sure, man. I don't even remember who taught it to me, but I think it's so easy for us to wake up and to go to sleep thinking about what are the things that we could do better, what we could improve on, areas of growth, like things that are missing in our life, that to consciously have our mind focus on all the things that are going right or already improving takes work, and it's a muscle. So what I do, I literally have this little notebook that I keep in my binder. And every morning I write down 5 things that I'm genuinely grateful for. And it could be something as simple as I woke up with more energy than I've had the last couple of days. My coffee was tasty, like just anything that I'm like training my brain to start looking for the things that are going right in my life, right in the morning.
I love it. Start off with the positivity.
Yep. Yeah. And I started doing this with some of our other agents too, where the gratitude is something they've implemented, and then they've started writing down 5 things that they got better at night right before bed. So that way their subconscious is processing all the things that they're improving on all night while they're sleeping too.
Gold. Yeah, guys, that gratitude journal, I didn't start doing that till a couple years ago here. And a lot of people, I know early on, I procrastinated doing it myself because I overthought it. I'm like, dude, this can be really, really simple things. I didn't hit snooze on the alarm clock this morning. Really, really basic things, but Jake's right. Get your mindset right. Anybody else have some other questions?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm new to this and I'm trying to stick to the sales conversation, but at the end of it, I keep getting people asking me to just leave some literature and they'll think about it and get back to me. I go through the rebuttal and I just hit that brick wall. Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, man. Procrastination objection. That one and the corporate objection were like the bane of my existence when I started here. And I can tell all you guys probably, if you were ever to shadow me, the worst part or my weakest part of my whole sales presentation is my rebuttals, because I hate using them so much that I want to do everything in my power to handle objections before I get to the end. So what I've done, Graham, as I'm in my sales process, I will try and bring up any objection I can with them in the buying atmosphere before I get too far. Because if I get too past all the way to the end, they feel like they have enough info to make a decision without me. So like yesterday, I sat down with two young gals at a bridal shop, both in their 20s, both married. I'm like, there's no way the spouse objection is not coming up here. So just in the buying atmosphere, I just covered like, hey, ladies, what we're going to do today, I'm just going to talk to you about you and your income. And that way, if this makes sense, I'm going to protect you guys. I'm going to give you some info to take home. And then if your husband wants to add himself to what we set up for you, we can do that. But we're just going to talk about you and your income today. So just trying to handle those things up front. And something that I've trained a lot of my agents to do in the recent past is double tapping the buying atmosphere. Like basically just saying it a second time right after you say it the first time. Because so many times we'll cover the buying atmosphere and someone will go, sure. And it's a really half-hearted response. And it's like, hey, like, Josiah, I just want to make sure you heard me. After I go through this, if it makes sense and fits your budget, I'm going to get you protected today. But if not, just tell me no. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Because if you're saying it a second time, hopefully they'll bring up whatever objection is likely going to come up at the end and you can address it there and protect your time and energy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I like that. Double tap.
Yeah, works in Zombieland. Why wouldn't it work in sales?
Hey,
Oh my
Jake,
God.
Jake, what conditioner do you use?
What is that? Oh, Squatch conditioner, all natural Squatch.
Same for the beard or something different?
Same. Yeah, for sure. And then I got some spicy little beard oil that's got this like pineapple smell to it that my stylist started putting in it that I like. I don't know the name though.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Oh, we're rolling into no shave November, so everybody's working on their beard game. Clearly, Van got a head start. All right, guys, we got enough
What's
time.
up?
There we go.
I'll jump in real quick. Appreciate you
buddy?
being on, buddy. Good to see you. A few things, Casey. Great job. Van, do the dishes, and thirdly, congratulations again for you and Emily on the engagement. That's huge. Can't wait to see you guys in Mexico. Just want to speak to your level of commitment. You're probably one of the most committed people that I know from a distance. Your engagement with people, whatever you're doing, you're 100% in. From spike ball, of course, but this career, your health, and just, you know, your engagement with other folks. But I want to share a quick story. So Osal reached out to me a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. Guys, if you don't know, he loves doing Tough Mudders, Spartan races, and knowing his background, where he came from, what he used to look like. This is a total transformation, which is really cool. But he reached out and said, Tolbert, you know, I'm in town doing a race. And there's no races in town. Where are you at? And he's like, I'm in Fayetteville. I'm like, dude, that's almost 2 hours away. He's like, yeah, I'm getting done with the race. Okay. It comes down after the race, and I think he ordered some Thai food for us. We just sat on the back porch and just chummed it up for just a couple hours. And he's like, well, see you later. And drives back another 2 hours to Fayetteville. He's like, yeah, man, I got to be, I think, Kentucky or Ohio training another person come Monday. And I was just like, man, this dude, he just scrambles and does what he says he's going to do. And man, if I didn't say it enough that day you came down, dude, I appreciate that. It really meant a lot. So Your level of commitment and just, again, engagement, it's very inspiring. So, dude, super proud of you, man. Nice to know you.
Appreciate that, dude.
Jake, how many Spartan races have you done now?
Just under 30, but I did 20 of them in 2022 in 1 year. My last one was a 50K out in North Carolina, which took 10.5 hours, but I actually haven't been able to do a Spartan race since I tore my meniscus on the Q3 trip. So hoping to do one right on the tail end of T11 this year back in Phoenix, even if I got to walk the dang course.
Dang. Look
Yeah.
at that determination. That's some grind right there and grit. All right, guys. We got 2 minutes. We got time for one more quick one, if anybody has anything.
Hey, good morning, Jake. This is Elizabeth. Wanted to say how much I appreciate you coming on today, but in listening to you originally, you said, you know, for you, you just stepped out there, you didn't care about the mistakes, you just did it. That was how you were gonna, you know, get better. So my question to you is, when you circled back to those businesses where you quote unquote made a mistake or you messed up or whatever, when you followed back up with those businesses, how did you handle that? What did you do? How'd you get out of your head for, you know, knowing that, hey, this was a belly flop, how am I going to make it better?
I love that question. So I just had this conversation with Jared yesterday. First things first, you have to approach it with unbelievable amounts of humility when you go back to those folks. Like, I actually have people I protected that I went back and saw less than a month after I totally fell on my face. And I'll share one of those stories with you guys here in a second. But I guess mindset wise, when you go back to follow up with anybody, there's some of those people who will remember you. And if they do, you just got to go back with enthusiasm. Like, hey, when I met you, I was new and I've gotten better and I wanted to take another chance to share this with you. Or, hey, man, I actually learned some new information that I think you'd really appreciate, and taking that approach. Or even if it's just you're not new, but your head was up your butt that day, or you didn't do your best, just saying that. Like, hey, sorry, I didn't give you my best and I want to give you another shot. But most people, honestly, when you go back, aren't going to remember you. Like, you think about yourself more than anybody else thinks about yourself. So even the rudest people you meet in a day, like a minute and a half after you walk out their door, have already forgotten who you were, what you look like, and that you're even there. So just have a lot of grace. Like, I remember the story I'll share. There's a firearm store down in Benson, Arizona, Sarge's Firearms. Sarge, I don't even remember his first name. But when I approached him, was one of the toughest days of my first month, just exhausted. Like, I basically forgot my first name in the approach. And I'm like, sorry, man, like, I'm just kind of out of it today. And he goes, come back when you got your shit together. Direct quote. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. So I came back a month later and I literally just said, hey, I'm back. I got my shit together. And he goes, huh? Did not remember saying that to me at all. And I told him his direct quote. He goes, sounds like something I would have said. And I ended up protecting him in that second conversation. So it's like, just don't overthink it. Just go in with humility. Like, unless they bring it up that they remember you, good chance they don't.
Man, that was the best question through the whole thing, in my opinion, for sure, especially going back. Yeah, that humility and grace, give yourself grace. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Jose, for just being on here, giving us your time. Obviously, plethora of information here and some nuggets to take away. I hope all of you guys took a ton of notes and implement at least one or two of the things that Jake talked about today. Whether it's your morning routine or just, you know, sticking to a good solid schedule, things like that. But thank you so much. See you in December in Mexico.
Absolutely. And then Casey, I don't know if you saw, but I sent you an eagle that you can share with the team. You guys, I had the worst month of my career, like month 7 here, and followed it up by having the best week of my career right afterwards. And the eagle I wrote, I just listed out all the mistakes and ways I screwed up, was like the first column of that, before I had a 3,000 gap month to a 37,000 gap week and a 90,000 gap month on the tail end of that. Like, so I sent that eagle to Casey just of like, go and make mistakes, be okay touching the hot stove. Like, we learn so much more from getting calloused and touching hot stoves rather than someone just telling us that the stove is hot. So like, be okay making those mistakes. You learn more from them anyways.
So true. So true. Thank you so much, guys. I did share that eagle already in the Schneider Agency Boxer. Along with right before that is an accident testimonial where one of Jake's clients was paid $28,800. So if it's not in your arsenal, I'd recommend that you save it and share it. It's a really, really good one. So thank you so much for being on, giving us your time. Hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday, and everybody will be on their own team's wig sessions tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thanks,
Oh.
guys.
Have a good day, y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you, Jake.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, JC.
Of course.